I think the Terrible Twos is kind of funny.
Right.
Oh,
Very,
boy.
very good because it's 2 questions.
I thought you were on my side with the force thing.
You thought wrong.
All of a sudden you flip-flop.
Star Wars Resistance was a companion to Star Wars episodes 7 through 9.
Star Wars Resistance was a show for little tiny kids.
Star Wars Resistance was charming.
Nice. Hey, everybody, and welcome to Falling Towers Watch the First podcast, the podcast in which we watch what Mike is showing you right now, the first episode of a series so that you don't have to. Only the first. If you want us to review a series or the first episode, just say WTF in the comments section, which means watch the first. And then that thing like WTF Golden Girls or WTF Empty Nest.
Oh, those would both be good, actually. If we could
WTF
find Empty Nest.
Beverly Hillbillies. Anyway, we are here with co-CEO and superstar Michael Kenyon Rosenberg, as always. Catherine Roberts, actress, producer, director, I'm not quite sure.
Not director.
Not director. Got it. Catherine Roberts.
Don't
Hi,
call
guys.
her a director.
I am not a director.
That's your middle name. Not a director yet. Everybody always calls me a director, too, when they introduce me. And I'm like, I don't know why you think that.
You have directed some
Yeah,
shorts.
that's true. Maybe it's
You
because
have a passion to direct? Me
Michael
either.
does. He's good at it.
I used to, but I don't because I'm terrible at it.
So today we are reviewing, my name's Michael Kenyon Rosenberg. His name is Ryan T. Husk. And today we are reviewing Star Wars Resistance, Episode 1, which is called The Recruit, Part 1. And we're going to get into it very quickly. But first, before we do that, something we just started recently is the guessing game, where we guess what each other thought of the show.
Guesstimations.
Yeah, Michael and I, we've known each other.
Guestigories.
Michael and I have known each other for over 2 decades. Falling Tower has been together for 20 years, so we think we know each other pretty well. Michael, and everybody that's watching or listening, take your guesses. What do you think? Did we like it? Did we hate it? Michael, I'm going to say that you were lukewarm on it. You liked that it was Star Wars, but you're not the right demographic for it. So you're kind of lukewarm on it. That's what I think.
All right. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that Ryan did not care for it at all. He did not laugh at any of the dumb jokes. He thought that even for a kid's show, it was immature.
Interesting.
Can I guess?
You can.
Ooh,
Okay.
this is exciting.
Michael, I think that you hated it. I don't think that you liked it. And Ryan, I think you liked it. A little bit. A little.
Now I want to know what makes you say that.
I don't know. I know that you
Yes.
like Star Wars. So I'm going out there. Your background, I'm feeling the vibes.
Nice.
I'm feeling like you might like it.
All right. I think Catherine was also lukewarm on it. What do you think, Michael?
I agree with that. Yeah.
Okay.
I think we're both on the same boat with that one.
So much guessing going on. But let's talk about what this was actually about. Michael?
Kazuda. Ziano. I can't. It's got like those little red squiggly lines because it doesn't recognize the word.
Right.
Kazuda Ziano, a young pilot for the Resistance, is tasked with a top secret mission to investigate the First Order, a growing threat in the galaxy. In this first episode, Poe Dameron tasks young pilot Kaz with spying on the secretive First Order. Kaz travels to the Colossus space station and is drawn into a race there.
Interesting. So now we talk about what we expected versus what we got. Michael, what did you expect before you watched any of this?
Ziono. Ziono. Kazuda Ziono.
Yeah.
So what I expected, I was, obviously you see it on Disney Plus. It's a cartoon. I was like, okay, it's a kids show. I'm going to watch this. It's going to be a kids show. Keep that in mind, Michael, while you're watching this. This is a show for kids.
All right. Catherine,
I was trying to think of another way that I could say that, but I think I used them all up.
Catherine, did you have any expectations?
I had no idea the show even existed. So I had no expectations going in, but once I saw that it was a cartoon, I, like Michael, assumed this was purely a kid's show.
Yeah.
Ryan?
Well, I'll tell you what I expected.
All right.
Nothing. I was just kind of like, oh, cool, another Star Wars thing. I guess when I saw the cover art or the key art, I could tell that it was for kids more so than most Star Wars. Just same as you guys. I think I was just like, okay, cool. And plus it's animated, so I just assumed that it was a Star Wars series that was animated, aimed at children. But that's what we expected. Here's the real thing. Michael Kenyon Rosenberg, what did we get?
What I got, I'll tell you what I got. I got a show that was Star Wars, and it was for kids. That's what it was, really. It was a kids show. I mean, and not even just like Star Wars Clone Wars is a kids show too. But that one is geared a little bit more towards older viewers as well, where this one is just straight, let's just go for the little tiny kids. The kids that like last week, if Ryan was in the 80s and this came out in the 80s, he'd be like all over this like He-Man.
Maybe. These guys aren't nearly as ripped as He-Man. Did you like it though?
Did I like it? I think we're gonna find that out later in the episode, right? Isn't that?
How long do we have to wait to find out if you liked it?
We're on pins and needles.
You have to keep watching.
Okay, Catherine, what did you get?
I thought it was really cute. Yes, it was for kids, but I thought maybe it might be geared towards a little bit more towards adults as well. Just from the dialogue and storyline, I figured this was something that adults could watch with their children.
Mm-hmm.
And it not be so childish, like there was an actual storyline happening.
Tell you what I got. I got something that was easy to watch now that I think about it. Comparatively speaking, what was the other one we reviewed? Star Wars Clone Wars, was it? Michael?
Right. I didn't watch Clone Wars with you guys. I mean, I watched it separately, but you reviewed it with somebody else because I had an accident. So oops.
Right. I felt like that one was borderline obnoxious, whereas this one was easy to watch now that I think about it. I mean, I didn't have any issues with it. It didn't annoy me. So it was an easy to watch animated Star Wars series that is complementary in the lore for episodes 7 through 9 of Star Wars, I'd say. So Michael, are you going to tell us if you liked it or not? I still think you were lukewarm on it, but I think like bordering on tepid, maybe slightly below to lukewarm.
What did you think about it?
I was fine with it. It was fine.
All right. Cool. All right. Let's move on.
Michael, you're such a tease today.
So what do you think? Did I like it?
I think you did. I think you liked it. Like you didn't love it, but you liked it.
There you go.
All right. Show's over. That's the whole show.
Okay. Michael really doesn't want us to say if we liked it or not for some reason.
You'll find out at the end when I give it my rating and talk about if I would watch the second or not.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we have to wait for. You're trying to just give everything away.
Well, sometimes we like something but won't watch it anymore, and sometimes we don't like something and would watch it. But I will say that I initially thought that that was an R2 unit, and it was a C4 unit. So
Right.
boy, was that a fun.
Well, that
Right.
was weird to me because like they've established in Star Wars canon lore that those are R2 units. I mean, it's not. It's just because it's a different color or something. Is that what you're? Is that what they're? I mean, they've had other. I guess they had R4 in Attack of the Clones. Obi-Wan had R4 in his.
Right.
But I think that was a little bit. It didn't have like a little bit of a
It
triangular.
was modified, yeah.
head, yeah.
I think I always thought that the R units or R2 units were a certain model,
Right.
and like C was a certain model, and B for BB-8 was a certain model, but they
Right.
really just tricked us there. I was like, oh, I started putting in my notes. I was like, oh, there's an R2 unit in an X-wing, and then a few lines later, I'm like, nope, it's a C4. I don't know anything about Star Wars.
Yeah. Doesn't make sense.
By the way, Catherine, do you watch a lot of Star Wars? How much do you know? What have you seen?
So I actually do like Star Wars. I'm not an expert by any means, but I have seen, I think, almost all of them. I'm of the rare group that loves the Anakin Skywalker trilogy. Those are my favorite.
You're not that rare. I'll tell you which one that I think is the best episode out of all the Star Wars episode movies. Episode 1. And I'll tell you why. Jar Jar Binks. That's right. The one that everybody hates, right? Yeah, see? You're on my side. Ryan hates us
I
both
like Jar
now.
Jar. He's a little annoying, but I like him.
That's okay. People are entitled to their opinions.
Yeah, the right opinion.
He was definitely obnoxious, though. But anyway, so you've seen them. Have you seen the new trilogy? 7, 8,
Yes,
9?
I haven't seen the latest one,
Okay.
but I keep meaning to.
So when Poe Dameron popped up, you recognized.
Yes.
You said,
Yes.
"Oh, I remember
Yes.
that guy. He's a guy that's in the stuff."
Yes, exactly. But I did not recognize Kaz. I assumed that this was a new character brought in.
Mhm.
Well, and Poe Dameron voiced by Isaac Oscar.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah,
I don't know who that is.
that's the guy who plays Poe Dameron. in
Oh,
the
no
movies.
way.
Yeah,
I just
yeah.
assumed that it wasn't him because
Yeah, I
they
looked it
never-
up because
they
I was
never
like, wait
do
a
that.
minute. Yeah,
I
yeah.
figured. It
It was
sounded
him.
like him.
It was him. They had Anthony Daniels doing C-3PO.
Wow.
When he called it, oh, General Organa wants to talk to you from the other room. That was Anthony Daniels doing that C-3PO voice.
That's really cool. But I liked Kaz. I liked the character of him. I thought that, it was a really likable character to follow. So I would enjoy seeing him in the actual Star Wars.
Mm. Yeah. What do you guys think of what's his name? Gluka? Biku? What was his name? The green guy.
I don't even.
I liked him.
What was his name?
Niku.
I liked him.
Yeah.
I liked him a lot.
The guy who went around saying that he was the best pilot. Oh yeah,
Right, and he took everything so literally.
Right,
Yes.
yeah,
He's right there behind you.
yeah.
There he is. Yeah, I liked him.
Yeah, he was pretty dumb.
I thought it was fine. I thought I was going to be annoyed by him. I'm like, oh boy, here we go. This joke about the guy that takes everything literally. But, I like the way he worded things. I thought that was fun. I've done similar things in my own writing. So I was like, oh, that's fun that the writer was doing that. That's, that they have their own fashion of speech. I will say my favorite part of this show, let's just get to it. My favorite part of the show was in the closed captioning, because I include the closed captioning to make sure I spell the character name correctly and the planets, and all, just to know what we're dealing with here. And when the droids beep and boop, the closed captioning is hilarious. It tells us, so for example, when the TIE fighter gets away, the red TIE fighter gets away.
TIE Interceptor, actually.
Oh, really? they just said red TIE, so I just guessed. TIE Interceptor, got it. So then it said, the C4 unit went like boo, 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 or whatever, and it says disappointed beeping. And then when Poe asks, what's his name, Kaz, to join, and Kaz is like, oh, I'm a good pilot or something, then the C4 does boop, 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 and it says cynical beeping. Like, you're really giving it away. Like, they're looking very deeply into these beeps. And then BB-8 had negative beeping. What else? BB-8 had concerned beeping, frightened chirping. BB-8 also had worried beeping and negative beeping and skeptical beeping. I'm like, these guys, I feel like they're giving away a little too much here.
That's really funny that they translated it. That's so funny.
So one thing that I didn't like,
boy.
One
here
thing
comes
I didn't
negative
like
Nancy over here.
is, so I didn't really, I guess maybe I need to rewatch 7, 8, and 9 because I didn't really understand, like, the kid's like, I can't join the Resistance, but he's got the Rebel Alliance patch on his jacket. So isn't he already a part of the Resistance? And he is running information to the Resistance. So I didn't understand. I thought he was already a part of the Resistance. Like, why is he not in the Resistance if he's wearing a Resistance?
I was a little confused about that too.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure, exactly the same thing, why he wasn't a part of it already.
I guess that means he's affiliated with it or a courier for it, but not officially enlisted in it.
Well, they're flying X-Wings, and like...
And he has a crew with him. Right. It's not like he's just hired for this one little mission. It's like he had a crew with him that are like, the job, and we are all working together.
Right, yeah. Like, it seemed like they were all part of the Resistance. Right. Poe shows up in an X-Wing, too. Like, they're all in X-Wings. X-Wings are a Rebel Alliance or a Resistance ship. Like, why? What? And then at first he's like, oh, my dad would kill me. He's a senator. And then I guess I was just an idiot because I was like, didn't the Senate get dissolved? But then talking about the New Republic. So that was
a long time ago.
That's probably the New Republic that they're talking about. Tell me how dumb I am in the comments. Michael, you're an idiot. Obviously, in episode 7, they talk about the New Republic, dummy. Please let me know how dumb I am.
I had a lot of little nitpicks too that were kind of glazed over. I'm like, whatever, it's a kid's show. But I do feel like how dumb are kids? Like, I don't remember I don't remember being dumb when I was a kid. But then still, if I watch the cartoons I watched as a kid, I'm like, maybe I was dumb. Maybe I was, because this doesn't make any damn sense. But my first thought was like, why are the 3 X-Wings running or fleeing from the one ship? And, when he's tricking the Poe Dameron and he are doing the battle with the red TIE, whatever it was, then he's got the ship coming right at him. He's like, okay, get out of the way and I'll shoot him, which seems like a good plan. But my first thought was, okay, so you shoot him. What's to say he's not going to go and then just kill you?
Shoot back at you.
He's coming right at you and you wanted to say, that doesn't seem like a wise, you don't have to shoot somebody. You don't have to have them facing you to shoot them. Like, you could just pursue them or just turn.
Especially this is space too, so you can come. Like, when there's 3 TIE fighters, you could, like, one person could be like, oh, all right, I'll like lead them on, and then the other 2 could go come at them from different angles, and like, it's space. It's not, you don't have to be planar.
If I could read Catherine's mind right now, she's going, oh my God, these guys are such nerds.
Super nerds.
No, I'm understanding. I'm understanding. That's very true. I didn't think about that. That's very true. But I guess for kids, this is a more dramatic, I guess it's more dramatic that way.
What do you guys think is the age range for the show that, for the viewing audience? Like, what do you think? Is it aimed at like 4 and 6 and 7-year-old kids?
No.
Is it aimed for 13 and 15-year-old kids? What is it aimed for?
Yeah, I think like 10 to 15. Like, because it was somewhat complex. It was a little complicated where you had to follow it and understand it.
3 to 5.
Actually,
my kid older than 5 is going to be like, "This is stupid."
I don't know. Our friend Darth might watch it, so we'll have to know.
Yeah, but he's about at a 5-year-old level, though.
Yeah, he's been a 5-year-old for decades. But I will echo your sentiment about Niku. Now that I look at my first note on him, when I wrote, Nico, green guy they meet, is a literal idiot. So I guess I wasn't too impressed with him at first, but I think he grew on me a little bit where I'm like, okay, it's fun that he talks like an idiot, but he just has a different way of translating the English language.
I will say though, I was a little confused why he was so hurt and upset about Kaz's, revelation.
I'm not really the best pilot in the galaxy. You're not? Oh man.
Mm-hmm.
Now I feel like an idiot.
He got so upset. He got really, really upset. I wasn't quite, sure why he took it to heart so much.
You're like, grow up, dude. What's your damn problem? You're being such a wimp.
Now, who was the guy at the bar talking to Poe Dameron? Poe Dameron's friend. Who was that guy?
Yeah, what was his name?
Jarek Yeager.
Yeager, right.
Is that who you mean? Niku's boss.
Oh, okay.
And there was also the big dude. What was the big guy's name?
Bucket?
Anyway.
No, that was one of the
Bolza Gruel. Bolza Gruel was his name.
I don't know any of these people's names.
That's all I got is the names.
Is he a character in the Star Wars? The guy?
No.
Okay.
No.
I think only Poe Dameron so far is the only
one.
Well,
and Leia Organa and
right,
yeah.
The old schoolers. That was cool to see. That was nice.
That was cool.
I don't know how she called him. Sound like she called him from a different room, but if she was a hologram, then shouldn't she just like chirp on his watch or something like that? I don't know.
Maybe it was like because when Kaz busted into the room, they're like, "Hey, man, we're having a private conversation here. You can see your way out, 3PO."
No, I wanted to ask, how come they didn't think like that Kaz was spying on them? They just They were just like, "Oh, okay, yeah, hop on."
He's just a kid.
I thought that was like, why didn't they question him in any way?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
They should
probably because he already has the patch and he's already part of the team. They already know he's part of the team, as Michael pointed out.
Yeah, that's what it seemed like to me. Like maybe that's the new Resistance, the new Republic patch, and they just were like, "Hey, well, we're just going to take the Rebel Alliance symbol and change it a little bit, and that's going to be our new Republic."
Now, did I hear the Wilhelm scream?
It's possible. I mean, I didn't really pay attention.
I thought I heard it in the bar fight, but then I went back and listened to it a second time, and I was still 50-50 on it. Because people are getting more and more clever. For those of you that don't know, the Wilhelm scream is just this it kind of sounds like that. It's just like this sound that they've got
sound effect.
And they add it to every movie practically.
It's it started with Star Wars, I think. I mean, or rather, they used it in every Star Wars, the original trilogy Star Wars movies. It's like what do you call it? A public domain sound that you can use, and we used it in one of our fake movie trailers that we made, and so yeah, it's like it's one of these sounds where if you know it, you start to hear it in all sorts of different movies
everywhere,
and TV shows. Yeah.
I'm gonna look this up. I never knew that.
Yeah.
You'll hear it in so many things. It's everywhere.
Can you do it, Ryan? Can you give us it?
Yeah, it goes like, ah! Ah! But
it's really the very specific sound, and you'll start to hear it. Like once you hear the Wilhelm scream, then you'll be like, you probably won't like say, "Oh, I've heard that before," but then when you watch stuff, you'll be like, "Hey, that's that."
yeah, you'll hear once you know it, you'll always hear it when it's out there. But people start to get more and more clever with it. Like they
Right.
mask it behind like explosions and other screams, and that's what they did this time. They kind of had like 2 or 3 other sounds, so it was tough to tell. If I had to guess, I would say that no, it was not it, but it was tough to really tell, and I didn't feel like listening to it a third time because it's not important enough. But
Yeah.
if we didn't hear it in
Once
this
through
one,
was enough for me with this show too.
yeah, boy, Michael, I never thought I'd hear you hating on Star Wars stuff.
I think my predictions were spot on.
I think so too.
Maybe.
We'll have to
We're
see.
just gonna have to wait to find out.
Skeptical beeping.
So what else can we even talk about this show? My notes are done. Like that's all I had to say.
Well,
Will you guys watch more episodes?
No, we only watched the first. That's all.
And then
we're
at the
allowed to
very
do.
end of the episode, we'll all review
Notes. So A
Yeah,
minor
that's
is
the easy-
perfectly fine. Yeah.
well on a piano only, obviously. And
Yeah,
she's like,
but-
"Oh, they're music nerds too. Get me out of
nerds,
here."
Yeah. Oh dang! These guys were in a band together. Oh, it must have been the nerdiest band ever. I'm sorry, to speak
Weird
for you,
note.
but-
Sorry, I distracted you.
No, yeah, it ended on a weird note. Like they had this big build up for a race, and then they're like, "Oh, I guess you're gonna have to watch the next episode."
I
see,
know.
Michael,
I
that
wanted
is
to see
something
the
called a
race.
cliffhanger.
But it wasn't even like a cliffhanger. It was just like they were getting ready to go to the race, and then it was like the show ends.
This episode is called The Recruit Part 1. So I guess it's a 2-part first episode. But we only watched the first episode of things. Otherwise, boy, oh boy, we would have watched that second one. Yeah, I was surprised when it ended.
No,
I was
this is just the recruit. It's not part 1.
Yeah.
Episode 2 is the Triple Dark.
Then that means it was released on the same time. Are you checking IMDb?
Yeah.
Yeah, what IMDb does is even if it's a 2-part, if it was released at the same time, it puts them together. But-
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, but if you watch on Disney Plus, which is where we saw it, you'll see this episode is called The Recruit Part 1. The next one is called The Recruit Part 2.
Damn,
A lot of shows do that to us. So then they're off by 1 on the IMDb numbering and the show listing. But anyway,
that's how they get you.
they get us a lot on that.
But it was
Catherine.
abrupt. The ending was
Yeah.
abrupt. It kind of just was like, oh, it's over.
Yeah, that's what I felt too. I was just like, oh, that's it. My homework's done.
Yeah.
That's cool. That was easy. And I looked, I was like, 21 minutes. All right, that was rather painless.
I will admit, though, I wanted to see them do the
The race,
The
right?
race.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to
The
see if
great
this guy
race.
is really the greatest star fighter in the galaxy.
If you guys had to guess, do you think he wins that race?
Yes, obviously.
I think so.
I don't know. I think the
yes,
obvious
yes.
thing is yes.
Yes.
But, maybe some battle will happen right
Yes.
before. But yeah, otherwise he's going to be the best.
Yeah.
And they're going to be
Yeah,
like,
he's
whoa,
gonna-
you're going to go far, kid. This is pod racing.
Yeah.
I think there was definitely adversity that he had to overcome within the race, and he almost, didn't make it, but he does.
Man, oh man, these are good predictions.
We're thinking way too hard about this show.
I don't think so. I think we're not thinking enough about it. Like, what did you
No.
guys think of Kaz? Do you think he's a cool character? Do you like him? Do you want to
No.
grow up to be
Yes.
like him?
Nope.
Yes, I like Kaz.
What do you like
I thought
about
he
him?
I thought he was cute. Thought he was very cute.
Very cute.
Yeah.
What about his dad? His dad was kind of a punk, huh?
Yeah, what there seems to be definite tension between the relationship,
Mhm.
that They're
Yeah.
not close. He needs to prove
Deadbeat.
himself to his dad.
Stop asking me for money, deadbeat.
Yeah, what has Kaz done? You know, has he been a bad kid?
Clearly.
Well, he delivered the intel to the resistance, so.
Yeah, but maybe the
I
resistance.
did that, Dad.
Maybe the resistance are the jerks of the galaxy.
But we know it's the New Order with their red tie interceptors.
I also liked how Poe Dameron was kind of like, you know, well, I'm just going to take you here and see ya.
Just try not to crash and die.
Peace out.
Water boat
Which
ships.
leads me closely to a nitpick I had. And I hate that I notice these things, but I feel comfortable around you guys that I can admit this. When they said, hey, this is where all the best pilots hang out. Hey, this is where all the cool people and pilots and X this and X that hang out. Cool. And then they go fly over in, and I'm thinking, boy, it's going to be tough to find parking for your ship.
Right.
For your ship on a tanker full of pilots and ships, and they go right to the front door, and they just land there. I'm like, where are all the other ships? How is that spot not taken? The one docking place, and then I think, well, maybe that's just like a taxi drop-off kind of place. Maybe they just go because everybody's there. It's bustling. It's not just all by itself, and you figure, oh, well, it's just not being used. I felt like, oh, maybe they'll just like land and fly off, and then the next one will come and drop off. Nope, they just parked it there. They're like, oh, cool. The only parking spot on the whole ship, and it's open. What luck.
Not only the only one, the best parking spot on the ship.
Right there. And everybody was there. It was a very busy parking spot.
I also kind of thought where they would hang out would be a lot cooler because they're the best fighter pilots. I don't know. The bar was rather depressing, I thought. You know, like, are they all depressed pilots? You know?
It's like I didn't really think that I didn't get the impression that there were other pilots at the bar too, because like everyone's talking about, oh, the greatest star pilot in the galaxy, and like there's not people saying, no, I'm the greatest star pilot in the galaxy. I'm gonna take that kid down. Who does he think he is? Telling people that he's the greatest starfighter and the star pilot or whatever. You know what I mean? Like that. There was just a bunch of bums at the bar and like hustlers and swindlers. That one guy is trying to swindle Kaz at darts. And
that little turd guy.
And the big buff guy who's just like throwing people off the ship and.
Right.
It's like, where's all the other pilots?
Exactly. Where were they? Where was, the best one?
Ryan.
Agreeable beeping.
Now, what does agreeable beeping sound like as opposed to
sarcastic or
agreeable
skeptical beeping?
Agreeable beeping is like boop boop beep boop bop, and sarcastic beeping's like beep beep boop bop. Beep beep beep.
Beep beep.
Yeah. To answer that question though, like, children's movies do keep it very simple to where, like, you would think that where all the best pilots hang out, if somebody says, hey, there's the best pilot, they'd be like, I'm the best pilot. Or no, Jack is. He just beat all of us yesterday in the great race. Remember? Or, they'd call him out. But Star Wars itself is aimed at children and does keep things kind of simple that way. Like, here are the good guys. You root for them. There's the light side of the Force and there's the dark side of the Force. It makes it easy for us to know who's good and bad because we're all idiots, I guess. So a Star Wars show aimed at children is going to be even more simplistic. No offense to Star Wars fans, but they really do spoon feed it to us. There's very little nuance as to who's a good guy and who's a bad guy. And that was kind of the appeal when it first came out in 1977, was that in the 70s, there was tons and tons of like political and social movements and and everything was like super deep and interesting, and things were like angry or passionate or this or that or super nuanced. And these guys were like, let's just make something fun. Here's the good guys, here's the bad guys. The good guys are going to win. Hero's journey. Keep it simple.
Maybe what I think Star Wars does the best. I mean, you said like the planets and like that, but
yeah,
for me, the real core of what Star Wars is it's spiritual.
Mm-hmm.
It's about the Force, and it's about the Jedi, and it's about
good and evil.
How everything is one, everything is connected together, and how there's that connection that gives you power. And there's none of that in this show. There's no Force. I mean, it's magic. Who doesn't want to see? That's what's cool about Star Wars. It's like science fiction magic, and there's none of that in this at all. It's all starfighters and pilots and Poe Dameron, and like you get no Force whatsoever. And
I like the characters.
That's my favorite part of Star Wars.
Really, I like the characters and the aliens and the world better than the Force stuff. The Force is just cheating. That's all it is. It's a cheating plot device where they're like, he's trapped. What do? We'll make him use the Force. Now they can force heal. Now we can force kiss. Now we can force push. It's just like all these. I think the Force is just cheating. What do you
Ryan, the Force is real.
No, that's why I like the Anakin Skywalker ones, because you can see how the Force evolves in someone and how you can have both light and dark. And it's, what do you choose? That's what I love about Star Wars is, the light against the dark within people.
Okay, well, let's put this to the test. If you guys are both bullying me and outnumbering me, here's my defiant beeping. What sold more Star Wars toys? Aliens and ships or the Force? How many Force toys are there?
Baby
Michael?
Yoda, huge sales. Baby Yoda. End mic drop. End of conversation.
What about the lightsaber? That's like
lightsaber.
Force.
Bang. Double mic drop.
Those aren't action figures. People like the characters. They like the aliens. They like the different races and the weird characters and the weird.
Nope. Luke Skywalker.
All right, I think people are going to have to settle this in the comments below. What do you guys like best about Star Wars? Is it the cool aliens, the cool fun characters? You
resist. Stop resisting the Force.
I'll tell you why, but I can only tell you that there can only be two of us.
Was that your mic drop moment?
No,
that was his bad. That was his attempt at a bad joke.
That's a Star Wars joke. So, victorious beeping.
Beep, beep, beep.
Yeah, victorious beeping. Here we go.
I guess the real point is that Star Wars has something for everybody.
Yes.
Lame people who like the aliens and starships, and then the cool people who like the Force.
We're gonna have to get Darth in on this conversation. He's gonna pull out 6,000 Star Wars action figures and be like, the characters, obviously, the people, the
stormtroopers. That's his favorite. The stormtroopers.
Yes, he loves his stormtroopers. Catherine's like, you guys have a friend named Darth? Yeah. So is it any wonder?
Well, is his name actually Darth, or did he change his name?
That's the name that he was given at birth.
Wow.
You'll never guess what he named his son.
Oh.
Darth
Vader?
Jr.
Oh.
Should have called him Luke, but whatever.
Really missed an opportunity there, but
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, he has the Force within him.
See, Ryan?
All
right, moving on.
You just don't, Ryan, you just don't feel the Force, I guess.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever felt anything imaginary before. Now that I think
well, try
about
feeling
it.
the real Force then.
All right, I'll do my best.
Force.
So I think we can take a break from the cynical beeping and talk about you for a moment, Catherine.
Sounds good.
How are you, by the way?
I'm great. I'm super happy to be here.
Awesome. Here is West Hollywood, California, and Van Nuys, California, and Portland, Oregon, but mostly out in the Dagobah system.
Yeah.
Catherine, you've produced a couple short films, right?
Yes, produced, wrote, and starred in them.
Can you tell us about them?
Yes, absolutely. My first short film was for the 2017 LA Film Festival contest, and I ended up winning fan favorite with over 500,000 online views within a week of it being online. So
wow,
that was pretty cool. It was judged by Oscar winners. Got to go to the LA Film Festival and celebrate. It was awesome. And then my follow-up short film, Behind Her Eyes, ended up getting picked up by Amazon Prime Shorts TV and OP Prime TV.
That's amazing. And you wrote these? Do you have a writing partner?
No, just me.
Wow. Do you have somebody that you bounce them off of? Like say, okay, I've written something. I need
now
some
I
notes.
do. Now I do. For the short films, not so much. I kind of had a mentor guiding me. But for short films, I mean, it was like 8 pages, 8 to 10 pages. But now that I'm in feature writing, I've found some professional writers to bounce my ideas off of. And oh my God, it's so helpful.
Have you been in any pitch meetings at all yet? Or
Yes. That is terrifying. I mean, especially, I'm an actor, so I feel like I'm okay with talking, to people about it, but the pressure of like trying to condense an entire feature film into like 30 seconds, like how do you get across everything that you want to say in a pitch? It's so nuanced.
Practice. So you said the second one that was picked up by Amazon is Behind Her Eyes. What's the first one called and where can we see it?
It's called Amelia's Story, which is also on Amazon Prime. And you can just search it and find it and watch it.
That's awesome. You are also writing, or you wrote, and you're actively pitching a horror thriller.
Yes.
Which is probably what you're talking about when you said you've done the pitching. How's that going? Can you tell?
So I reached out to the author and I optioned it.
Nice.
I optioned the story and I turned it into a feature film screenplay. And at first it was purely horror. It's very much in the vein of Bird Box, about a haunted forest where you can't see the evil force, you can only hear it. Hence the name The Whistlers.
No wonder she likes the force.
Exactly. This is an evil dark force. So anyone that enters gets overtaken by the whistling noises and they turn on each other or they turn on their own self. And only one survivor ends up surviving out of every group that goes in. So
that's awesome. How many times?
I've turned it into more of like a psychological thriller now, after pitching it and getting the feedback. So it's now a lot more complex and layered and a little more Shutter Island like.
Okay. Yeah. So your pitch is also evolved.
Yes.
Do you feel like you're ready for the next one? Like you're like, all right, I'm ready for this next pitch. I got it nailed down to 28 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, kind of. I submitted to the Netflix, I think it's called The Impact, where have you guys heard about that?
I've heard of it.
Yeah. So they were looking for a female-driven thriller. So I submitted mine, and you have to have a 30-second pitch. So I recorded mine, and we'll see. I mean, I'm guessing thousands of people submitted, but it was good practice.
Yeah.
That was me knocking on wood.
Yeah.
I got a couple different woods here.
Yeah. But I love writing. I actually went back to school recently to get my degree in film and television. So.
Now, I first met you as an actress. You were the actress.
You were the actor too.
Yeah. But I definitely was that. But I didn't know that you did so much writing and producing. I was kind of wondering, do you have a preference? Like if you could only do one for the rest of your life, do you have a preferred career
Probably
path?
writing. I love acting, and I would love to have that as my job for the rest of my life, but there's something a little bit more creatively fulfilling to me about writing and telling my own stories. And the things that come along with acting, like fame and all that stuff, that's never appealed to me. So I would much rather like hide out in my house and write.
Ryan and I are both nodding our heads because
Yeah.
I think we both agree with that. Yeah.
It's just so much more fulfilling too, because you're telling your own story, like you said, rather than telling somebody else's story as an actor, for example.
Right. Like to act in my own projects, that's probably like the top of the top. But I also like have to know my own limits and be like, okay, someone else might do a better job than me too. So yeah.
When you're writing things, do you write a role specifically for yourself?
Yes, the lead role, I always have myself in mind. Just because I very much pour my heart and soul into the story. So like the female protagonist is usually based on things that I've gone through metaphorically. So
let me ask you this though, in this horror thriller that you've written, if you were not going to play the part, who do you envision like as far as like a star that could play this part?
You know, I've had to do that for my pitches. So I have, you know, honestly, there's so many people like from A-list, like Amy Adams, you know, someone that's, you know, strong and beautiful, but also like can convey like pain really, really beautifully. So someone like Lily Collins, I like her a lot too. You know, I'm open for anyone, anything. You know what I've learned from casting projects, it's like you may have someone in mind, but when someone reads and you weren't even expecting them to, but they just fit it, you know? So I'm sure you guys have experienced that.
Yep. Sometimes somebody just shows up and you're like, oh, that's good. I like that. That I did not expect that, but I think I like it better.
Yeah.
Do you guys like the horror thriller genre?
I'm a comedy guy myself, so everything I write, everything I do, I always try to make it funny and go for comedy. Ryan has done some horror thriller stuff.
Yeah, horror's fine. I've never been like gripped or frightened by one. It doesn't work on me. I guess because I'm able to separate myself and realize that so it's okay. It's fine. Yeah, I think I'm more of a comedy or a sci-fi kind of guy, but I like horror. I like thriller. You know, if it's good, I'll enjoy it. You know, I can still enjoy it even if I'm not like frightened. Certain comedies frighten me the most, I think. Like Bruno really had me squirming a couple times.
Well, I am putting together a little web series, a comedy web series called #Dating in LA about dating in LA.
No
really
big surprises there, yeah.
No big surprises. But I will say comedy writing to me is harder than dramatic writing. I don't know if you guys feel the same, but it's, you know, it's hard to convey jokes, you know, like it's like very
for me, I can tell a joke, and I can like when I'm writing jokes for my stand-up routine, I can like know that, okay, this is going to be pretty funny. But then as far as like, all right, it's okay. But then it's like if I'm writing something for like a short film or something like that, then it's a little bit like I mean, this is why I've kind of given up on directing too, is because I'll write something that I think is funny and then I'll direct it and it won't be funny.
You're like, I thought that was going to be funnier.
Yeah, I should leave it to somebody else to make it funny. But like sketch comedy, I think I can write some funny sketches. So.
Right. Well, that's really cool, Catherine. We'll definitely include the links below in the description box so people can check out your movies and check them out and tell you how great of a writer and actress and produceress you are.
Ah!
That was Home Alone, ladies and gentlemen.
Beep, beep, beep.
Excited beeping.
Yeah, surprised beeping.
So we're nearing the end. Once we get to this point, we get to this part that we call the bottom line. Michael calls it the terrible twos, but we call
I'll just concede, and I'll just call it the bottom line also.
All right, so the terrible
bottom
twos,
line it is.
whatever you like. And Catherine's like,
look how confused she is.
I hate these guys so much. Anyway, she's like,
I'll
the terrible
explain
twos
it.
is
Okay,
a great
Ryan
idea.
came up with this bad idea.
We're almost out of time.
He called
here.
it the terrible twos, and then he always tries to pin it on me, even though I never want to call it the terrible twos. But then we came up with the idea for the bottom line, and I'm like, all right, the bottom line, way better than the terrible twos. But
I don't know either. I think the terrible twos is kind of funny.
Right.
Oh,
very,
boy.
very good, because it's 2 questions.
I thought you were on my side with the force thing.
You thought wrong.
All of a sudden, you flip-flop.
Yeah. So anyway, it's 2 questions, and this is really when we get down to the nitty-gritty. The first question is, on a scale of 1 to 10, what would you give Star Wars Resistance: The Recruit Part 1, Michael Kenyon Rosenberg?
As an adult watching this show, I'm going to give this a low score of 4. But if I put myself into the mindset of a child, and I look at this through a child's eyes, then I would really just give it a 2. Yeah.
So a 4. Catherine, scale of 1 to 10, what would you give this?
Huh.
I know we asked the tough questions here.
Yeah.
Can I do it on a point scale? Like
Yes.
Okay. A 3.7.
Not very high. This is like what is the Showcase Showdown? The Price is Right, where Mike's like 4, and she's like 3.7.
Ryan's like 3.69.
No, I think I was hovering right around 4 myself. Definitely not lower than 4. I did feel like they skimped out on the animation. I felt like the animation was poor.
Oh, it was terrible.
This thing came out in 2018, and it felt like I was watching a video game from 2005.
Right.
You know, the animation was poor. It was not good animation.
Everybody had big noses and long legs, and
yeah, I just mean like the way they moved, like it wasn't fluid. It just felt like they really just skimped out on the animation. They just didn't put in as much money as they, like if it were a movie, or if it were like, you know, something highly touted, you know, or whatever. But Star Wars has enough money to get better animation than that.
Clone Wars, they did pretty good animation. I thought.
It was okay. And it was way before. It was 10 years prior. So
right.
I was a little disappointed that they, you know.
I thought it might be intentional. I thought that was like, they did it intentionally like that. But
here's hoping.
I bet that's what they'll say. Like, oh, we meant to do that.
That's a creative, anyway. So I think I will give it, I'm going to give it a 4.5 because I like the world building. I like that it's going to give me more in the world of Star Wars. You're going to see plenty of aliens, and you're going to see plenty of spaceships and characters and new planets and all these things. You're going to see some aliens that you recognize from other things, from other movies. So it could still be interesting. It could still be fun. And, you know, like you mentioned earlier, like a parent could watch it with their child, you know, and they could still get something out of it by saying, oh, wow, that's a, you know, a Greedo type alien, or that's a whatever. And then Mike will be like, but no force, but, you know, whatever, maybe there will be. Anyway, 4.5. But here's the even bigger question. for the purposes of this podcast, we all had to watch
We're forced
episode 1 of Star Wars Resistance. But now that the podcast is over, we bid farewell, and we don't have to watch the second episode. Would you watch the second episode of your own volition, Michael?
No force, no second episode. Sorry, not interested.
What about you, Catherine? Would you watch the second episode?
I wouldn't be opposed to it.
There's not going to be another podcast for the second episode, to let you know. So,
like, if it was on, I'd be like, okay, I want to see what happens. I want to see what happens in the fight, in the showdown.
That
but
sounds
would you
like
put
yes.
it on, though, is the question.
I don't know if I would intentionally put it on.
Okay, that's the key word, intentionally. Would you, yeah. So you wouldn't necessarily, of your own volition, watch it, right?
Probably.
Click the play button, yeah.
That is a barely a no. That's a borderline on a yes. For me, it was an easy watch. It didn't bother me. There was at no point was it obnoxious. At first, when the green guy was introduced, he was an idiot. So I was like, oh dear. But it was an easy watch. It didn't bother me. I had no issues with it. It was not obnoxious in any way. But it didn't do anything for me to want to watch the second episode. So I'm not angry with you, Star Wars. I'm not upset. I'm not disappointed, except for in the animation, I think mostly.
What about the bad jokes, though, too? We didn't talk about that, but
I didn't even really. Yeah, no, you're right. I didn't laugh at any of them, but they didn't bother me. You know, they were just like little jokes here and there. They weren't like incessant, and they weren't obnoxious, and they weren't eye roll. They were just like throwaway lines. But no, I wouldn't. I would not watch the second. Sorry.
3 no's. Sorry, Star Wars.
Yeah, shocking. 3 adults said no to a kid show.
To a baby show.
Well, that being said, boy, by the way, guys, don't forget, if you want us to review a show, whether we like it or hate it, just say WTF Cheers or WTF Altered Carbon or whatever. And make sure that you subscribe, make sure you like, make sure you hit the bell icon for notifications. Michael, what's next?
What's next?
Is it this podcast?
Yeah, I think it is. I'm forgetting now too. I've been tired, so like, yeah, we've been busy packing and
life is. I know, man, we're tired.
Yeah.
Anyway, so this podcast was mediocre beeping.
This podcast was some intense friction between Ryan and I.
This podcast was so fun.
Enthusiastic beeping.
Beep, beep, beep.
Anyway, thank you all very much. Thank you so much, Catherine. Everybody, if you liked what Catherine had to say in the interview portion, make sure you check out all the goodies that she has in the description box below. Please follow her, support her, and check out all of her good stuff. And we'll see you next time. Or as Michael Kenyon Rosenberg likes to say,
don't forget to watch the first of things.
Who knows why that's a thing anyway, but
I
it's
don't
funny,
even
right?
know. Yeah, I guess so.